Builder fam, got a fun one, near and dear to me from the fence industry. Dan Wheeler with the Fence Industry Podcast, River City Fence out of Northwest Illinois. He helps me with some of our American Fence Association stuff. I think he's doing awesome stuff. He's way ahead in the podcast game, so should be an interesting one for y'all if you're curious about my roots with the fence world. Thanks for tuning in. Dan Wheeler. A national treasure to me. You're coming on. You gave me one of my first features on your podcast, and now here we are swapping stories. So, first of all, you held that mic as good as anybody that I've encountered. Like, you asked the greatest of questions. You were prepared, and now I'm not. I'm just coming in to have a conversation. So, I don't expect to rival you. I think you've been doing it longer than me. I think you're better than me, and I appreciate that you're just coming here to tell your story. So, I look forward to diving in with you, bro.
Man, I'm just a genuinely curious person. That's all it is. Like, and I guess when you do it, I just actually today, Kevin, Wednesday, October 22nd, I released my 500th episode. So after 500 episodes, I hope to God I got it down.
500 episodes, and is it Fence Industry? No, which one is yours? My Life? No,
the Fence Industry Podcast.
The Fence Industry. Are you? And I actually intentionally didn't look it up, but who's the OG, man? Were you the OG? Were you? That's so cool. Mm-hmm. So 500 episodes. How long have you been doing it?
Just shy of 4.5 years.
4.5. Dude, that's so cool. So we're going to park on the Fence Industry Podcast, which I think is awesome. And I think dude, people, I don't know if we shared this when you interviewed me, man. It's a pain in the ass, dude. I got an easier time running my 150 person fence company than this freaking podcast shit show. Holy crap. But, well, so let's talk. And I think you shared this with me when you were on, but just like a real quick birth to today. Give me the quick, I know you're Northwest Illinois, up by, don't tell me, Galena, right?
South Galena, yep. Just south of Galena.
Yeah. So take me real quick through your life story quick.
Born and raised in the fence world. We are celebrating 41 years coming in 2026. So this year was our 40th anniversary. We did a bunch of celebrations. My dad started it after a fence company he worked for on the Iowa side. We're in the Illinois side, right on the Mississippi. Went under and he went out on his own. So the rest was history. And again, like most of us, like in college, I stepped away from the fence business, even though I still worked weekends in summers for dad. Did a stint at Lowe's during college just to keep money flowing and stuff like that. And I haven't gone far. Did a little stint at John Deere. John Deere is local to me in Moline, Illinois, just south of me. I lived in the Quad Cities for a little bit there. But man, factory life is nothing like the fence life. I can tell you that much. And I still worked weekends for dad, doing fence work because I just love it. Because being in going from outside, and you know what it's like it's outside, whether it's cold, windy, hot, snowy, muggy, beautiful, and then going into a box where you don't even see the sun. And in the winter, you don't even see the sun Monday through Friday. You go in when it's dark, you leave when it's dark. Dude, that takes a toll on a body. So I'll never do that again, but I just love the fence world. And now that I've done what I've done and I've met people like you and everyone else across the country, you can vouch for it. Like the fence world has the best freaking people in it, period.
Yeah. Yeah. I love your passion for it. Cause I used to be, and I have grown in my affinity for it, but I used to not. I was like construction to construction. I've always been passionate about the builders, and that's why the building industry, the trade industry. I mean, freaking A, we do everything. We build. We are the builders. I think for a while there, man, we got shit on, and I think that's coming back around. But it's funny you kind of talk about our culture. Is and I'm excited to kind of go and see. I want to go and explore the the Sparkies and all. But everybody else is established. I don't know. It's a really interesting culture, and it is cool. It's super cool. My affinity for it has grown. So let's make sure we don't miss it. Most people will know you, but not when I get going. So what's the fence name? The fence company name?
River City Fence. We're based out of Fulton, Illinois, which is just a small city right on the Mississippi. We're north of the Quad Cities, south of Galena. That's kind of our location. Otherwise, you're not going to know. Clinton, Iowa's on the Iowa side. So that's, we work 50-50. It's just no different than crossing the road.
That's awesome, man. And I want to talk about your business, but the question I want to ask you is, what's the thing that you don't get to talk about because you're so busy? Like, what do you want to talk about that you don't get to share? Like, we don't, like, you're up here, 500 episodes in 4 years, 5 years. That's insane. First of all, while running a company, while doing a generational transition, while growing. I know your business is growing, and we'll talk about it. Like, let's give credit where credit's due. Like, the man can work, that's for sure. But what don't you get to talk about that's like most interesting to talk about?
You know what I find most interesting in the fence world was what I had to like wrap my mind around when I first started. Because man, I actually on the episode I dropped today, I talked about like my train of thought then 4.5 years ago and to where it is now. So I used to be like, nope, me, my dad have to be on the job. Nobody does it better than us. This is the way it is. We can do sales. We can install. We can order. We can answer the phone. Like, we can do it all and no one can do it better. So we just need some grunts. Now we've evolved, and I'm talking to guys, certain guys stand out. Matt shared on Cannon Johnson, like, these guys are great guys and they run 5, 6, 8 crew companies, 10 crew companies, which in my opinion is big. In the fence world, for the most part, that's a good size, but they're not, I'm not dogging them, but I'm probably a way better fence builder than them, but they're way more successful than me. And I'm like, that was my biggest thing, Kevin, was how can this guy who isn't, the first time I interviewed Cannon Johnson, he didn't know what size socket it took to put on a wood latch. I'm like, bro, it's a 1/2 inch. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, and you're running a 6 crew company. Like, why are you more, in my opinion, successful than me? And that's where I started growing. I used to be black and white. If you're late 1 second, you're late, right? Now it's like a little bit of leisure, right? Because now I know everyone has a life and there's probably a reason why this guy's running a little late, a little tired or whatever it may be. I've just grown as a person, which that in return, the business has grown and I love it. And, but that's my biggest thing is like me wrapping my mind around how other companies are more successful or are successful. And I'm just coming from that old school mentality and I'm kind of evolving, I should say.
That was the word that was coming to mind, evolving. What was the, and I think there's if I were to say, I'd say there's an evolution of, there's a series of evolutions, right? One is this, that, and everybody's look a little different. But so this was the pinnacle. I'd say sounds like the pinnacle evolution for you, where you said, hey, being the best. This is going to probably, I'm sure you've said it numerous times on your show, but like being the best fence builder is not being the best business owner, right? They're actually not the same thing. What did that series look like for you? Because it probably had to smack you upside the head a few times, I would imagine, or
it has, and it's the networking, getting around other people that when we're talking business, right? You know what it's like after an event, you go drink a beer, eat a steak, and it's not talking about who has the best power tools or driver or auger. You don't talk about that stuff. You talk about buying power and purchasing and vendor relations and company culture. It's everything but that. Who cares about who cares what color driver you have? Who cares what brand truck you have? Right? It's more on that, I call it the back end of business, that I don't know. I used to be stuck in one way, and then I was like, my eyes were open to these guys that were bigger than me in business and more successful, and they're not talking about what I talk about. So, I had to be like, okay, I'm like, if they're doing this, that's where I want to be, then I'm going to start talking and thinking like them a little bit more.
A student of the game.
Yes. It's like eat at the table, like, right? Like sometimes I'm eating dinner at a table at a fence tech or whatever event, Northeast Fence Show. I like to go up there every winter. And like, I'm sitting around guys running 10, 20, 30, $50 million companies. And I'm just over here like stuck at 2.25. And I'm like, should I be here? Like, do you guys know who I am? Like, I can go sit in the booth next door. I'm like, I will take no offense to it. Like, but I feel like I'm out of place here. But if you're lucky enough, if you put yourself out there to be at that table, you can only grow. And if not, and if you're content with being where you're at, that's fine. I'm not. When I listen to you talk, when I heard you talk on our first podcast together, I'm like, that's my mentality. And my dad comes from we're okay where we're at. We're successful. We're profitable, and we're he's content. I'm not. I'm the furthest from that.
That's awesome, man. Have you found? I know you almost got me to get emotional with this question, but have you found balance in your striving? Like, have you found you don't strike me as restless. You strike, you're donating your time with the AFA, which I appreciate, man. That lady that didn't really care for our donation still, but like you find balance, right? You're doing the podcast, you're building your business. I think did you just have a kid?
I just had a baby 7.5 days ago. Yep.
Congratulations. And you're still here. God bless you, man. So you strike me as a very, like, a lot of people can't find equilibrium. I would have been, most of my grind season, I didn't find equilibrium, but you seem pretty balanced. Is that fair to say? Or you?
I don't know. Like now I have family time, right? Like now I got to squeeze this podcast in. I do 3 episodes a week. That's not ideal, but I don't know, Kevin, like we grind and grind hard. I think things kind of just fall into place, because before starting a family, I remodeled a house, at the same time running a business and, dealing with like the father-son relationship, the changing of power there. It's just been a lot. So have I found like a balance? I don't know. I don't think so. Like I've been thinking about this hard here the last week, obviously. And I'm like, no, maybe I should start saying no to certain things. Cause I'm an instructor for AFA coming up in 2 weeks down in Dallas too. And I help build the foreman class out also. So sometimes I look back, I'm like, man, what if I just said no to a couple things? Like, would that help? And the other thing is my business is growing and I see other competitors coming to my market too. That's top of mind. It's marketing and advertising right now. So I have a lot going on. You can tell I'm kind of all over the place, but I don't know. One of these days I'll figure it out, I guess. I don't know how to answer it because I'm just in that mode of life right now where there's a lot going on and I need to figure it out.
Yeah. Well, if I can addition through subtraction is powerful. Boundaries are powerful. And I would say the things you say no to are sometimes the most giving. So I don't know what that does for you, but it's interesting. For a little bit of wisdom, I was talking on a different podcast today. Like, I guess I'm a podcasting freak these days, but I've yet to meet, and I get to run with them, right? Like you're talking about running with some of the bigs, and I get to run like for, outside of the, in our world, 50 million is huge, right? And, there's $1 trillion companies, right? And so I run with a few. I run with a few that have a B, right? And I look up to them and adore them. But like, I have yet to meet anybody in those spheres or outside that looks back and say, man, I wish I would have worked harder. I really don't. I don't ever find that. I wish I would have done more things. It's always the opposite. I wish I would have taken more time. And it's like, I'm not sitting here telling you, I think we all, as entrepreneurs, we got to go through the grind season. And like, I'd say mine took longer than I would have liked. I think a lot of people are on a perpetual one. I think many people are on a perpetual one that doesn't ever sound like getting off the tools. But the sooner you can decrease that threshold and say, what's important here is like, if I got this much coming in now, and I know that success is only going to be more, like, can I take a little time and like, make it to my daughter's first, whatever, So anyway, I would tell you, say no. And I think they write books about Elon about that. Like maybe it's, I can't remember, one of the greats, but like so focused on what they did allocate time to and not. And like, like I think, I don't know, when you're making X amount of money and you don't need more, it's like, and so then family time becomes important. So anyway, that's,
and so last week, because I've been, knowing my wife is pregnant, we're going to have a baby this year. So all year I have just pushed the, my guys taking ownership of their job, SOPs, things in place. And I stepped away last week. I left them a lot of work. I did that project management operations job there. Like the last couple of days I worked to get everything in place. I gave them the work orders and I talked to maybe 1 or 2 guys all week on a simple question and everything got done. And I came in this Monday, no fires to put out.
Yeah.
And it's like, holy cow. Like this is kind of not, it almost felt guilty, Kevin, stepping away. And like today, I didn't even go in the office and everything got done. Talked to my dad. Yeah, everything got done. They actually had a schedule on a big couple 1,000-foot, 6-foot plus one. Perfect. Awesome. So
yeah.
I can't complain, man.
That's awesome, dude. That's super awesome. Well, so let's talk, if you don't mind. I mean, I'm going to be a little selfish here. I guess, is there anything you want, like, while I'm here with you, to explore on the fence side? Like, that's what you talk about all day. So like, I'm probably most interested in the building of the pod, the impetus for the pod, but I don't want to skip over that. Just, is there anything?
No,
Um,
I'm game, man. You ask me what you want,
okay.
and I'm here.
Yeah, cool. So 4 or 5 years ago. So tell me, where's the business at? Where's Dan at? And like, you're like, just take me through. Because I mean, I actually don't know outside the fence industry. I got to imagine there's a carpenter's podcast or six. I don't know where. Like, did you see a different industry, or just take me through it? Because I think it's cool. I think it's really cool.
So I started the podcast early 2021. In all reality, again, life was crazy just because the way we were running the business. I started it like late 2020, which is a year of COVID. But really in 2018, 2019, I really started to take ownership in River City Fence. And I don't know what it was, but we basically went scorched earth, Kevin. It was me, my dad, and we had a part-time welder. Like, it to the point to where it was just toxic. It was not a place you wanted to be. It was everything that most people think like blue collar construction company is. Guys are coming in drunk, high, whatever it may be. There was always issues with guys. That's all we talked about, complained about, was employees. And I don't know what happened. Enough was enough. We basically went scorched earth. Obviously, we had employees in that 2018, 2019 year. But my dad and I think we worked every day but 4 days in the entire year. And then we landed one good guy, and then and that was like 2019. Then we landed another good guy. And then I'm like, man, this business can go somewhere. But I don't know. I didn't have even Facebook. I think I had Instagram. I had nothing. And I was just listening to YouTube in the winter. We had all our fittings coming on from Helco, 3-4 skids. We do a lot of chain link. That's our bread and butter. So you know how they are. They're like 4 feet tall, and we have all the bins on a 50-foot wall, sorting them, counting them. So, make sure Helco doesn't get one over and in on us. And I was listening. I think Stanley Dirt Monkey came on. He was talking business and scaling and profit margins and stuff like that. Just normal basic business stuff that I never knew, never grew up around, never heard. And I'm like, that sparked something. And then I started listening to something else. And then before you know it, I found what a podcast was, because these guys were talking about podcasts. And I'm like, what is this? And I did a quick Google, and then I have this app already on my phone. And so the only podcast in that really kind of tripped my trigger was like lawn and landscape hardscape guys. And so I binge listened to those guys. And the hardscape guys, there's some super legit hardscape dudes out there. And then I'm like, man, there's got to be a fence one. There was nothing. There was really nothing. Joe Evers was out there. I don't know. I didn't know Mark Olson at that time. I don't even know if Joe was out there yet. And I reached out to a landscape guy who had a podcast, his producer was doing a lot of the podcasts, because it was like he was doing like 5-6 of them. I'm like, hey, I'd like to do this. And he's like, well, this is what you need. This is how we get started. I am not a tech guy. Like, now people think I am. I'm still not. But even back then, Kevin, I didn't know anything. And I mean nothing. And he spoon fed me on what to get, what to do, how to do the download to the computer from the RSS feed to the chip to the blah, 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 blah. He got me set up on the podcast platform. He produced my podcast. And kind of the rest was history. I did a couple on my own to get started. No downloads, no listens. I only had Instagram. So my thing was I'd work all day. I'd come home, do some remodeling on a house I bought. And then I would sit in bed for the last 30 minutes of my night, and I would DM guys on Instagram, fence guys, and be like, hey, I'm a fence guy too. Will you listen to my podcast? Here it is. I would say 9 out of 10 would say, what's a podcast? So I would screenshot and do like they didn't have video record back then on iPhones. So I'd screenshot and circle, like, this is how you find the podcast app. Then you search the Fence Industry Podcast. And I did that every single night for weeks and weeks and weeks until I got my first guest. And I still remember him, Michael Davis with Chesterfield Fence. And he's out of Raleigh, North Carolina. And then, man, it just kind of, I was grinding. I went to every event I could. out of pocket. I think one year I went to 13 events in one winter, and things just, traction slowly. And when I mean slowly, it was slow, but then it just kind of took off. But it was, 2 years down the road of doing all that and just putting myself out there for that to gain any traction. So, and then here I am now. Now it's just wild, dude. It's 3 podcasts a week. We got people asking to be on, we got vendors wanting to work with us. And I just keep it humble, man. I just talk fence. I'm just curious if someone's doing something or where I want to be, I bring them on. I'm like, hey, how did you get there? How'd you do this? Because in all reality, Kevin, 99.9% of the fence world is like me. Small, want to grow, want to scale, have no idea how to do it. So when I bring these other big timer guys on, they love hearing that too. And that's how I think we've grown to where we're at now.
That's awesome. Do you mind sharing statistics and tell me if I'm like how many listeners, how many? And I'm very curious. Like as I've charted this path, it was never about the money for me, and it doesn't sound like it was about the money for you. Would you say you found a way to make this labor profitable, or is it still charitable?
It's profitable. Yes, it's profitable now, but I was paying completely out of pocket for year one, and you have to pay a producer. You got to pay that. I don't know what it is, RSS feed website, whatever you use, which isn't much in the beginning, but the more episodes you have, the more data, whatever it uses, the more it costs every month. But profitable, yes. But that takes time. A lot of guys jump into podcasts, think they can make money instantly. That is not the case at all. I would say, if I had to guess, 99% are not even have a sponsor. I would be honest. Like now, I always tell people I'm in too deep now. Now we have 3 podcasts a week. People are DMing me like, get this guy on. We want to hear from this guy. You know what I'm saying? Like these events, I don't want to say rely on me, but rely on my help to promote them. So it's a lot of work. It's a lot of responsibility. And again, Kevin, like I'm just a fence dude. I build fence every day. And then I come and talk fence real quick for an hour every night, right? Like I'm not here to like throw in random ads. I'm not Joe Rogan by any means,
hey,
but
you're the Joe Rogan of fence to me, dog.
but it works. Now it's, I feel, here it is, Kevin. I'll be completely honest. Let's get real transparent here. I feel very greasy because I consider everyone friends in the fence world. And I know a lot of people. Everyone, like I can go walk down fence like I know this guy from this and this guy from that, and they want to work with me. It's how do you tell a friend, hey, it costs this much to be a part of my podcast? You see what I'm saying? That was real greasy for me in the beginning. Now it's like, hey, we're doing 3 episodes a week. We're getting this many downloads a month, this many total downloads all time. We're up there, so it's kind of a pay to play now.
Did you could have told me that I needed to pay to be on there. I didn't know that you were running that.
No. I get like, vendors that, would want to be on in the beginning and stuff like that. Some people I've never heard of, and some people expect just to be on. I'm like, no, like I bring on friends and stuff, but I'm talking like, we'll throw out just a name that people know in the fence world, like Halco. If they wanted to be on and continuous and be a part of the show, well, there's a fee that comes along with that, right?
I'm saving. I got myself in trouble with some. I spoke too freely in the industry already, so I'm keeping my mouth shut for right now, and I'll save that. I'll save that for a different anyway. So that's awesome. One, and do you mind sharing like the moment with where and was it a year before you got your first sponsor, and then was it or how long did it take you to get a sponsor?
It was just over a year. It was what it would have been. My first fence deck was New Orleans. What was that? 21 or 22?
Oh yeah, I did go to that one. Yeah,
because 21 was canceled. Because 20 was Salt Lake City. Then COVID hit. 21 was canceled. My first one was New Orleans 2022. And Caleb Roth, Expert Sand out of Nashville, still a sponsor to this day, headliner sponsor. We have a great working relationship. That company is unreal. He has grown. And he has a podcast too. So he was my first sponsor after it was well over a year into it. And I'll be honest, Kevin, like I went into that show, Benstack, I begged Tony Thornton to let me podcast live from the show floor just to set up shop. And I did. And again, I didn't even have Facebook. So I didn't know anybody. I didn't know if anyone even knew me. And I just set up shop. And then he came up and he's like, I know you. I've been following you. I'd like to be part of the show. I said, absolutely. Now I use this product, Expert Chain Seal, prior to that. So it wasn't one of those things. I knew of him and I knew his product. And then at the same show, actually, Kevin, our friends at Greenwood Fence, Lisa, I believe, approached me. And they're a flagship sponsor too, still with me to this day. So those two were my first sponsors. And that dates back to 2022. So, and then from there, it's just kind of grown in over the years.
That's awesome, dude. So I'm in the Facebook groups. Honestly, I wasn't on Facebook either. I had a hard time buying. I think I told this. I think you might have told. You were the one that said somebody called me a sleeper. It was like, dude, I got on Facebook for Marketplace, and then I couldn't negotiate buying dirt bikes and snowmobiles on my wife's account. And actually, and I'm not going to say his name, but somebody from a competitor that now works for me was like, this is where they find crews. And I was like, let me see this. And now it's an incredible business tool, which is fascinating. I think it's also a disgusting platform, but we'll leave that for another day. But so I'm on the groups, and there's 3 groups. I don't know why we have 3 groups. That we'll leave.
I think there's like 15 groups actually. There's 3 big ones, but then there's one for this and one for that, and it's wild.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it seems to be the biggest groups, and I think it's Sean's group, Sean and Brian's. Yeah. But so 22,000. How many views do you get? Like, I'm just ever curious. How many people are like regular listeners, or what's the? Do you mind? And if we can't say that online, like that's cool too.
Yeah, I don't say too much. So I don't put any videos on Facebook. I'm audio only. I used to do lives on Instagram, like on Thursdays, but it's too much work to get my time, your time. And then there's always something with the live, but I'll tell you this, all time I'm well north of 115,000 downloads. So.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
We're doing, and every month for the most part grows. You can see like holiday season dips. You can see like when it's like grind season, things are stagnant. But for the most part, we grow just a little bit every single month. When you get to like big event time, like your fence techs of the year, then you see another just giant spike for whatever reason. I don't know why you just do.
And that's 115,000 downloads across 500 episodes. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. And that's what I can see. That's what I would call their low ball number is, because in the podcast world, there's 26 platforms I go out to. Well, obviously your Apple, Spotify is like number 1, 2, then maybe Amazon. And then it just trickles down to stuff you've never heard of. But all those platforms obviously don't talk to each other. So nobody truly knows those real numbers, but that's like a low baseline is the best way that's been described to me.
And I know you're humble and you won't, but like you're an industry, you're a pillar of the industry, whether we want to call it but so like your followers, if you will, the people, like the Dan Wheeler loyalists, like when you think, if I said like, what is the community associated with you? I'm sure you've toyed with that. I'm watching those worlds be evolved, but like, do you think like you give me a range? Are we like 10 to 100, 100 to 5? Like how many people are like regularly scheduled programmers of your stuff? Like what's your reach? Like when you're thinking of your people that you don't know all their names, you can't know all their names, but your primary audience.
I'm north of 3,000 a month now. That's north awesome. Of 3,000 a month.
Dude, that's so cool, man. This like humble beginnings in rural. That's so cool.
The thing, Kevin, we're in a niche we're in a niche trade. It's fencing. Your podcast should go 1 million a month. I know. Like,
hey, don't be saying that because I don't even think I got 10 yet, bro. Easy with
you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm very niche. I only fence guys tune into me because why would somebody else tune into the Fence Industry Podcast? Maybe you get a random stray. Maybe. But like your lawn landscape, hardscape world, look at how many lawn guys there are in the country. What do we have? Supposedly 56,000 fence companies. There's probably 500,000 lawn guys. Like I know those guys are getting $1 million downloads a month, the top 3-4 guys, but they have a bigger audience. So, it's, I don't know. Like I think we're doing well. Again, people want to work with us and be a part of the show. So that's what I like kind of range us off of. I like it because I can lean on a lot of people, Kevin, in this fence world. And I absolutely love it.
That's awesome. I'm going to ask you a couple hard hitting questions. I think so. Like You might not have spent time with this, but what do you want to leave the world in this particular realm? Like, I don't want to get into, but like when you say like, I did this so that, like, what do you want to have accomplished?
It's very simple. It's, where I started, Kevin, before I dug deep into the fence world, all I did was beat my head against the wall on everything: employees, tools, everything, install techniques. We were in a bubble in Northwest Illinois, and it's a small bubble. I hadn't, there was nothing like Joe Evers, Mark Olson, Sean King, Tony Thornton, Robert Whitaker, all those guys out there putting out information like it is now. I just want to do my part on those guys jumping plateaus. Like, there's guys right now that could get to me like in a year where we're at, like just by really like dedicating themselves to the information that's out there that's free and access at any given second. Right now on your phone, you can just pull it up and pull up every one of my podcasts, every video Sean King or Joe Evers or Mark Olson has done. What driver do you need? What's going to work best? Do you want to go throw $4,000 at a driver and it can be the completely wrong one? You should have went this one. Or you can watch a couple YouTube videos on your couch, and that's the one I need because it can do this, this, and this. And that's what I have there. And and 3 different guys tested it in 3 different locations. And that's what I need. Like, I just want to do my part in helping the guy. Just, you know what it's like, Kevin, like when you're growing and you feel like you're not succeeding, you want to throw the towel in. I just want to eliminate some of those headaches, those problems that some of those small time guys are going. And I know they're going to probably succeed me, and that's perfectly fine. I'm okay with it.
That's awesome. And then to date, what are you proudest of? Fence related, not obviously your child and your family, but fence like professionally.
The community that we've kind of, are you talking podcasts?
Either way. I mean, I don't know if it's on your business or your podcast or whatever. What's your proudest moment or accomplishment?
In the podcast world, I think it's the community that we've built in the positive community, because there's guys out there that are not positive. You were kind of hinting towards it, like you in the beginning here, like Facebook is like a double-edged sword. I don't know. I'm here for positivity. I think the community that the fencing world and I like to think that I'm a part of. I'm not negative. I'm not here to trash anyone. I'm just not doing that. There's no time for that. Life is too damn short, Kevin, to be dwelling on dumb shit. Why do that? Let's move on, grow, make money, take care of your family, which goes right back to the, on the business side. I'm proud of, I think our community here in Northwest Illinois, Eastern Iowa has really seen what we've done, and River City Fence has seen what we've done. Now we have a social media presence, and, we have trucks out there, and people are like, man, I see your trucks everywhere. You guys did that job. You did, and it feels good to be kind of recognized as a community leader, as a small business. We have a new tagline, Kevin, and it's and I'm drawing a blank right now. We just came up with it 2 days ago. What is it? Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday, something like that. What is it? Family oriented, quality driven, or something like that. I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank.
No, but
but that's the truth. We're family oriented. My dad's in the business. I'm in the business. My mom's in the business. I have a cousin in the business, and I have everyone in my business. I feel like we are very close, and I consider them family.
That's awesome, dude. So, and I thought we could go here, and now I saw on your website that we might need to. Your title sponsor, I did not know, and so I want to ask about, and I'm going to preface it if we can't go here, but like you listed them, all of the I'm going to call them coaching apparatuses in our industry. I take some issue and some praise. Like, I think what Sean's built is amazing in one hand, and then there is some critiques that I might have in the other, and I've probably been too heavy on the critiques unfairly. I think his fence games are awesome. I think it's so cool, and I think he's revolutionized the industry. He deserves so much credit. Tony Thornton is working with people and doing great stuff. I think Brian needs to be up there. I don't think he's doing anything coaching, but Robert Whitaker, right? All of them. If I said, well, anyway, if I said like,
nothing's gonna offend me. Nothing's gonna take me off. Trust me, I've had this conversation. I already know where you're going.
Well, yeah, and I've showed my cards a little bit, but I'm like, if I made a statement, if I said, hey, we don't across the spectrum, we don't have the apparatus for the littles is not there, right? I think I want to be very clear. I think Sean, Robert, Tony are doing great things, but like, guidance and mentorship should almost be, and I would be very critical of our association. And I know you've supported me on my AFA journey, and I know the FWA boys are doing their thing. And it's like, it's very hard to get, you go to AFA meeting, the only thing you can't talk about is numbers, right? You can't, so that's what they need is numerical help, and that's antitrust, blah, blah, blah. And so then, and you got to pay to go to see, and there's plenty of free, but it's, somebody that's really going to, if I said that there's a mentorship gap for the littles, and when I think of littles, I think you're big, right? $2.2 million, that's a 7-figure business. You're making money, right? You can afford to invest in yourself. I'm thinking of like, the guys that are doing $200,000 of revenue, half a million in revenue, and is like, would it be fair to say that like those people are still underrepresented to get the support they need, despite an active like online search? Like they can go find it. Like I'm not making excuses for them. They can go find it. It's there, but I don't see the right vessel for those guys that exists. Would you share in that, or would you say that we've got that dialed and I'm overly critical?
So are you saying that there's not enough help for those young guys, little guys, to get to the next step is what you're saying?
Yeah. And let me I want to be very fair to Robert. I think he's doing great. Sean, I think he's doing great. Tony, they're doing great. I think the problem is to go to Fence Tech is too much of an investment for these guys, right? To take time away. And so it seems to be all geared around doing an event, maybe a couple $1,000s. Like it's not super expensive to most businesses, but the guys that it's all they can do to free up an evening to hop on a call. Is that a real gap, or am I seeing this situation?
There is a gap there. And that's why I preach like the whole Fence Tech, like you can do it as cheap as you want. And I know there's guys that still, that's probably like a mountain to climb, but you can do it as cheap as you want. But yes, I feel that. And the other thing is, I feel like those guys, I don't want to say embarrassed or shy. Like they're probably afraid to take the next step or ask for help. And then it's like, how do you reach to those guys? And then when you reach out to those guys, how do you make sure that they invest themselves? You know what I'm saying? Like you can lead a horse to water type thing. There's just a lot of ifs. There's a lot of whats, but I see what you're saying. And I agree. I agree. Like, how do you reach all those guys? How is it possible?
Yeah, I have some ideas, and I'll take them offline with you. And I'll just, if your audience happens to listen to this and you promote it, I think, yeah, I really, and I've been real reticent because I want to go. I've done certain things well, and I want to give it back. But then, if I'm making more money off my coaching business, like then, kind of to your point, like that's what feels greasy to me. So I'm gonna ask you to put a survey to you, because I think you've already got the audience, and if I got to pay for you to put the survey out, that's fine. But I really want to reach out and give a leg up to the guys that can't afford to go to one of Tony or Sean's classes or Robert's or whatever. But
so what's your thoughts on having skin in the game? I'm a big fan. Sean's a very good friend of mine, and some of his stuff he does, I agree with. Some of the stuff I don't agree with. I have been completely transparent with that in the podcast, and he charged for trainings. That was a big thing. He got shunned on the last couple of years. That created a massive divide in the fence world. Now, was it that he charged for trainings, or they just didn't like Sean? It's probably the case. But my opinion, and then he offers them for free basically, and these vendors are stepping up and paying for it. But in my opinion, if you can, I believe you should have skin in the game. I do. Like, even if it's a little bit, I just believe that. That's my mentality behind that. It always has been and always will. Is there some guys that are just like, you can tell, like, you just need to get here. Don't worry about the, XYZ payment. Absolutely. But, that's where I stand on
No,
that.
you're totally right. Yeah, no, you're totally right. And I think, yeah, you're totally right. And I would never condemn. Like I'm the same way, right? If I'm going to go forget the skin in the game, is like my time is valuable, right? Like,
yeah, exactly.
But yeah, no, it's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I'll share it with you. I really have been. I've been praying about this. I've been sitting about this. I don't want to be a Fugazi, and I'm not going to talk about any of our guys because I don't know that they are or they're not. I hope to talk to each of them, and I probably opened poorly coming out and asking the questions that I should have probably saved for later. But, when I look around the room, and I'm going to pick on the bigs that are never going to hear this, but like, I can't stand it. The idea is you ghostwrite a book, you build a community, you brand yourself as an expert, and then you go peddle bullshit, right? And I never want to be that. Like for me, and I was ranting about it on an AFA call. It's like, dude, if I come work with you, I'm like the idea of coaching. So again, I assuming because of you that this is going to make it to my community of the fence world. This is not an attack about anybody in the fence industry. This is a general attack on the coaching. It used to be consulting and now coaching. And I think if you say I'm a coach, you come engage with me, it's going to cost you money. It's going to cost, and if you can't afford it, I'll give you a scholarship, but I will get you where you want to go. And I won't work with you if I'm not excited about where you want to go and I don't believe in you. And that's what I feel like this kind of the coaching norm is pay the money, value maybe, right? And my thing is like, if you can't afford the money, I'll donate the time. And like value, yes, and then I'm gonna So it's not, but then I am a high ticket. I'd be a high ticket offering, and then am I reaching the people that need it most? So I find the general coaching atmosphere dangerous and gross generally, not exclusively, right? I think there's a few. It's like any profession. You talk to a lawyer, you got to go through 10 to get one good. Fence guy's the same, right? There's probably 1 out of 10 is like really, really a killer. But so that's had me on pause. But I'll send it to you. What I'm going to ask you to do, if you don't mind, and you don't have to, you really don't. I want to put a survey out. I want to get to know these people, and I think what I'd like to get going with you, through you, alongside of you, is like I think just a monthly jam with those that are willing to raise their hand and say, "Hey, I'm vulnerable and I am struggling, and I really want to level up my game," and then. From there, that can be free. And then I really want to dive in with a few a year to see if I can't multiply my success across. Like to you said it just as exactly how I would. Like I bumped into so many ceilings, man. And I'd like to give it back. So I would love to leverage you if you're open to that.
Yeah. And there are, so here's a question for you. There's guys that want to be, what's your thoughts on guys that want to level up? They want to be the next big thing, but they just want to be told what to do and they're a doer. Are you excited about working with a guy like that? Or are you looking for a guy that wants to bounce ideas back and forth and question what you're saying in their business and then work together to build something? What are you looking? What's an ideal candidate?
Yeah, for me, one, I don't exclude anybody that wants more for themselves. I think I'm more intrigued to work with somebody that's like got huge aspirations, huge dreams, and can't figure out how to make the rubber meet the road. And I think, the doers, I'd love to, I would guide them and mentor them in their careers, but I would encourage anybody. And this is, I think, where our industry gets a little mucked up, right? When you take that step out of the payroll world and into the entrepreneurial world, it's a land of unknown. And so if you're looking for a step-by-step guide, not to say there's not one, but like you got to iterate. You take a little bit of what Dan says, a little bit of what Sean says, maybe a little bit of what Kevin says, and then you got to put it together your way. And like, I don't think I would encourage anybody that really wants to be told what to do and wants to, I think then you want to be at a company where you can succeed. You want to be working for somebody else. And then I don't want to diminish anybody's dreams, not to say you can't do it, but if you're not comfortable dealing with nebulousness, the fear of the unknown is like, I think the best thing for those people would be to find them a good company to grow in. I don't want to diminish anybody that really wants to be in business for themselves. But dude, that's my big thing. I'd say is like, this is not for everybody. This is a journey of pain and suffering beyond that with which you can imagine. And it just keeps coming. I would say, when you go from 2.5 to 10, it's like everybody that is in that spectrum, like can't wait to get to 2.5. And like, I'm sure it was a painful journey for you guys to get to where you are. And I would tell you like the worst size company is, to me, and I say this, and I would be curious what Tony and Sean and all the experts say, is like 6 to 10 million is to me is really hard. You need one of everybody. You can't really, I don't know. So like, that's what at every different crossroads, there's more and more trouble. And we kind of do this, like, if I could just do this, and if I could just do this. And for me, I had done that year over year, and I was like, and we were running maybe 12, 18, it was right at 12, 18 million. And I was like, dude, I'm not saying that next year. Like, if I don't get it, I'm going to go work for somebody else, like, for God's sake. So I don't know what you think about that. I'm open to if you don't agree, but I just think the entrepreneur journey isn't for many people. And I think the shame of it, is not a lot of good leaders in our industry, a lot of old heads, not a lot of empowering people. So as hard as it is, and in entrepreneur land, it's also hard to find a really good company to work for. Like you got to go to work for somebody that gives a shit about you. So maybe in those instances, in those locales, like, yeah, you should work for yourself because there's nobody home. But I do think there's guys like you, I'm going to say guys like me that like give a high level of crap about their people. So, but please, if you disagree, do.
What percentage of guys, and I don't want to hijack your podcast here, I'm just curious, what percentage of guys do you think are in the fence business as owners, owner-operator, doing everything that shouldn't be an owner-operator and should work for someone else like you or me or someone that kind of, I don't want to say has it figured out, but has that side going?
I would never, and I love the question, and you're never still on the podcast. We're just having, that's why I'm using the podcast to have a conversation online, really. And so thank you. I am so, I take a deep breath because I never want to tell somebody not to do something. Like if you want to be in business for yourself, I think I would sit with that person. I'm going to say the person that's not, I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and I'm going to reveal to you that like the pain you're about to endure is hard money, right? And it's not going to be good money. And I would say, I think many probably had done it better than me, but I was working for crap wages. So I would never tell somebody you're not cut out for it, but I would paint a picture to say like, you really want to deal with this. And then so let me say that anybody can do anything that they want to do, but they got to make sure they want to do it for the right reasons. And so what I would then come back to is like, I think there's a lot of people that are working for themselves under the illusion that they're gaining freedom, right? And they're gaining control or they're gaining power. And what they have done is taken on a whole shitload of liability, a whole crap load of like workflow that they didn't imagine. Now you gotta know marketing, you gotta know bookkeeping, you gotta know how to hire, you gotta know how to lead people, all of this stuff. And they're probably making less wages. I would say anybody that's making $150,000 or less and has a whole crap load of debt, liability, both real monetary and just like mental debt that is going home and that doesn't love the pain that they're in is like, should have probably thought a little bit longer and harder about what it is they're doing. And I'm not going to say that they shouldn't be in business, but I'm going to say there are ways to make better money, easier, and do great work in the industry that you love and in a place where you don't have to worry about your truck payment and you can drive a really nice truck that somebody else is paying for with tools that somebody else paid for. And you can go do great work and make great money. And so I would say the vast majority of business owners are job owners and it's a low paying job, high stress, high liability. So I wouldn't put a number on it, but I would say that there's 70-80% of small solopreneur subs are, it's not that they shouldn't be in business. They got in business for the wrong reasons and it's not really working that well. And I think the people that have made it, like owe them a venue and a runway and a path to financial independence. And this is my thing. Like if you're willing to dig holes for a living, you're a special breed of human. Like you're a badass in my mind. But you don't need to be a business owner to go make financially freeing money. And so I want to really quick draw the distinction between like if being in business really often equated to freedom, where you controlled your time and you controlled your income and you were doing better, I'd say everybody should do it. It's the opposite, right? You're making less money per hour, working harder, and you have all this liability. And that's the thing I don't think people there. I don't see that intersection because nobody really wants to say that because that's kind of offensive. Right. But so that's my bet. I don't know.
No, I completely agree. I completely agree. There's some guys that, you see them like sometimes on Facebook, they're like, who's putting in a Sunday today? What? Like, man, like there's got to be a good reason. Now, Kevin, we're to the point our business has evolved. Now we're not even in on Saturdays. I've never grasped what having a weekend was. Because can you believe like I've never had weekends off in my life? Like, and some people are like, what? Like you've never, and I'm like, never, like maybe cutting it off at noon on a Saturday and going in for a couple hours on a Sunday to pick up what I didn't get done on Saturday. Like people don't understand that. Like it almost feels guilty, but now the business has evolved and I've taken what I've learned and sitting at the table with these guys that are ahead of me. And now it's like, it's nice, it's nice. And I think there's guys that need help with it.
Yeah. And I don't want to, I think what you've done is great. I think it's awesome. And I think it's also unique. I think there's plenty of people, and I know them, running $10 million outfits that are still working weekends and stressed to the gills and not really even making money. And so there's a path and anybody can get on it. But yeah, so yeah, that's great. But I would love to leverage you and see if we can't put some fuel on the smaller class. But that's a future day. And so your title sponsor is Mr. Fence Academy. When did that happen? I had no idea.
I have 3 title sponsors because I have 3 shows. It's one of those things where like I'm like, hey, this guy wants to step in. You done your time as a title sponsor, so like I have to share the wealth type thing, spread the love, I should say. And they're like, nope, we need to be a part of the podcast. So that's when I knew like we were doing something right. When people were like, nope, we got to be a part of our partnership. Has to stay intact some way somehow. So then when I'm like, all right, well, we'll just add another show. And then like the ad guys were like, we need a show. And then that started. But yeah, Sean, I think it's been not horribly long, year in some change. 2 years. Geez, going on 2 years in February.
Yeah. And this is where, so would you, and I wanted to ask, like, you've studied it more than me. I don't know much. I know Robert because he's involved with the AFA. I know Tony's because he's involved with the AFA. I know Sean because he is Mr. Fence, right? Mm-hmm. And then Mark Olson, I just know because of the video, whatever. Who would you, can you say, like, now your title sponsor is Mr. Fence Academy. So like if I'm a small struggling outfit, what would your guidance be? Like, where would you point?
I don't know. I think Sean is a great start, Kevin. I think Sean is a great start. There's a lot of resources on his side, and it's like the basic stuff. And I never really been through a consulting with Tony or Robert. And I know Michael, his brother, does like that 0 to 3 million or 0 to 1 million or something like that. 0 to 3. Then Robert picks up if you're 3 to 5 or 3 and up, something like that. As far as businesses, I think Sean's a great start because he has all the resources. He has a budget sheet. He has a scheduling sheet. Whether you use it or not, I think that's a good start. At least get your eyes open to it. Do you guys graduate from them? Maybe. I don't know. I think there's guys doing well that stick with them. Then I see guys going to Robert or Tony, whatever it may be. Like I don't know. I think it's one of those things like a tool or a supplier. You got to try them all out, see what fits best, what relationship you feel more comfortable with. Because I would like to think that you're spending some serious money, time with these companies. So I think these guys would do the research on it. But I don't know. Sean's my friend, a very good friend of mine. But again, I do things certain ways, and so does he, and so does Tony, and so does Robert. Robert and Tony are good friends of mine too. I'll have Tony on the podcast here coming up pretty quick, and I'm sure Robert will too to promote Fence Tech. So I'm close with all of them. But I don't know. Like I think it's you got to sit down. You have to have a call with them. You have to say, this is what I want. This is what I need. This is what I'm struggling with. And then I would like to think they were like, no, this is what you need to do. This, and this is how I can help you with this, and this. And like you said, they got to be as excited and willing and eager as I am. That's the thing. There's got to be. Sean and I click well because I'm hyper as hell, and so is he. That's why we click well. So we're 2 hyper dudes. So when we get together, we can conquer anything. That's what I like about Sean. So.
Yeah, that dude's energy. He might have me beat. I normally consider myself the Energizer Bunny. But all right, I've got a standard list of questions for leaders I bring on from the industry. I'm going to get those later. But like if you're the notional god of the fence industry, and you're going to hear this question in a different form in a minute. But like you got to like change one thing, work on one thing, or get something fixed. Like where would you? Unlimited resources, like we could change something about the industry. What would it look like for you?
Oh my goodness. I don't know. I could go a lot of ways with this. Well, here's one thing. Here's one thing that's frustrating. I'll go this route. It's frustrating to me. I just got off the phone with my dad before I jumped on the call with you. Is we lost a job, prevailing wage job in Illinois, to a company that I know is not going to build the fence the way that we do it, and to the spec needed. Long story short, it's a 6-foot +1 with slats, literally in the middle of a cornfield, nothing around it. It's going to get beat life out of it. So it's going to look like shit in a year or 6 months or 18 months. And if I did it, my River City Fence did it, it's going to look great for decades to come. But we lost it by this much money on the bid. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's frustrating that it's not the work isn't consistent across the board. I should say standards isn't consistent across the board. Some guys go above and beyond. Some of myself, maybe I'm a little too much on what we do on installs, and maybe that's why we lost it. But that's one thing that's frustrating. That's kind of ticked me off here lately. But other than that, man, nothing really. If I could change something, I wish we had a little bit more community than what we have. Instagram is big on community in the fence world. There's no hate over there. Facebook's a different story. I think the ego thing in the fence world's pretty big. A lot of guys like, I've been doing it this way with no failures. Yeah, they're the variables. My first guest, Michael Davis, said fencing's unique because of all the variables. That's what's unique with fencing as compared to everything else, other trades, I should say.
Yeah. That's rad. I got to know, was that a public bid situation, or that was
no, they just call. It's just a small community call and say, "Hey, we have a little depot."
It was a negotiation. You couldn't get them to freaking
And I'm like, what? And what's frustrating, Kevin, is like this company's like blacklisted on other communities, and like, you know what I'm saying? Like they can't even work because of the quality of work. So I'm like, you guys talk? Like, don't you have like a board or something? Like, and then it brings up like, hey, don't you know ASTM standards? Don't you know anything with this? Like, are you going to check what they're doing? You know what I'm saying? It is what it is.
Yeah, that's another. You bring up another. That's like your sweet spot is building a fence, right? I like relationships, relational stuff. Like I can overcome 10% pretty much anywhere. Not always like the wrong customer, but like I actually started a coaching platform for sales. And like, this is gross, but gosh, I'm just curious if I could have been there. Could I have swindled you?
And that's the thing is we found out about it because my dad just gave him a courtesy call. Like, yeah, actually the other company got it because, it's a closed bid type thing. You submit it, we submit it. They were
it is municipal.
Yes.
So I'm sorry. When I say public bid, so it's just, see that I would agree with you. I think, and I don't want to say I have a plan, but like we got to get away from this low bid goes. Like that's crazy. Like that is such a terrible.
Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you.
Bit, but that's the whole, and that's something I talk about here. And I think there's going to be I'm going to call it the great alignment of the trades, because like there's so many things in there that are broken, particularly the buying decision is like, they want you to be cheap and then change order. Anyway, we won't get into that. So and
that's the other thing is I know there's fence companies like that'll come in cheap, change order. We've bid against that too to get their money back. Is that right? I don't know. I don't.
Well, dude, it's set up, and that's what I'm talking about. It's set up that way. I mean, you got, and that's on the GC side too. It's like, are you really, you want a low bid and you want, anyway, well, we'll save that. But I don't, we're going to reckon with it. All right. This is my standard leadership book question. So I've had some people that couldn't answer them. I think you'll be all right, but don't worry.
I hope. You're making me nervous now.
Don't fret. They're not that hard. All right. But it's funny because, I'll give you the first one. Like, so good leadership. What's your definition for good leadership?
Man, I don't know. I get my hands dirty just like everyone else. My dad has this saying, like, I've never asked you to do anything that I haven't done 100 times over. Pretty simple. It's just one of those. That's in a nutshell. I think that, I could go in more in depth on other things, but obviously we care about our guys. I want my guys to improve constantly. My project manager, sales manager, they do all the education we can get them at Fence Tech. We, when we go to like the golf outing and stuff like that, they'll sit on the education classes, whatever it may be. Cause I want them to grow too, right? If they grow, my business grows. And I think that's being a leader is bringing everybody up around you to when tide goes up, boats go up. So
yeah, dude, I love that. All right, when you think of traits, the key, the key adjectives, 3, 5, 7 of them. When you think of the traits of a leader, what is that?
What's the word I'm thinking of when like I can make a decision, whether it's right or wrong? I'm making a decision and we're going with it. And if we have to kind of change course, we have to change course. But I'm like, hey, let's make a decision, run with it. What's the word I'm looking for? That's the word I'm looking for. That's one of the biggest killers, I think, in business. People overthink it. No, let's make a decision. Let's run with it. And as long as you're consistent and you're working towards a goal and everyone knows what's the goal we're working towards, sometimes that a wrong decision or not the perfect decision will still outdo the decision that's perfect with everyone's not working at a consistent pace and everyone knows what goal we're working at.
Analysis by paralysis is no good.
Yes.
We go to war with a 70% solution, right? So that's good. Speaking of the global construction industry outside of the fence, but you can relate it however you want. What's your favorite part of the industry?
Favorite part of the industry, again, is the community. It's the friends. I have friends everywhere, Kevin. Like I can think of most states, California, it's Texas, Idaho, everywhere, Washington, Maryland, Florida, Tennessee, Kentucky. Like I know guys, I get texts all the time from guys saying something they heard on the podcast or they seen something that we posted as a company that they had questions on. I just have friends everywhere. That's what I love. Like it's nice, Kevin, like when you talk to someone, like you have to remember what time zone they're in because it's either really early or really late for them. That's what I love. That's what I love. I can call anyone like, hey, I need some help on a podcast. Can you hop on? Absolutely. Let's do it. Let's do it right now. Awesome. And then we have a great podcast. We just talk fence and relationships. And, you know, there's guys I've stayed at their house for events. Clint Imes, Log Cabin Pro Drivers. Nathan Downs, he's down in Radius Fence down in Tulsa. Like I just, so many, not just friends, but great friends in the fence world. It's absolutely wild.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And you kind of already answered this, but maybe it's different outside of the fence industry. Speaking of construction, is it the same? If you could change one thing, would you stick with your answer?
Outside of the fence world, well, I'll say this. I wish the fencing in the States was treated more like a legit trade. I have guys on from New Zealand. Those guys over there do like your ag fence, what we would call here. That because over there, keeping sheep in is huge. Those Kiwis, what we call them. And over there, it's like a straight up profession. Like you're on a pedestal, like an electrician to us, an iron worker to us. That's what a fencer is to them over there. And I think slowly it's happening. And that's because of a lot of things. You know, people are knowing their worth, putting in better fence, charging more, creating better businesses. You know, it's just that snowball effect where it comes to like we can treat our guys better, our employees, our team members, whether pay, benefits, whatever it may be. It's coming. It's coming. It's been slow. It's been hard. I mean, you and I have lived through the worst of the worst, but our dads have lived through even worse than that. You know, back when we did sand, gravel, Portland to mix concrete. So then they came out in these little bags, 80-pound bags. Now it's all pre-mixed. Now we just drive a post and people are like, what's concrete? You know, and
dude, my dad, that's so funny. You're talking about the old dads. Like my dad would never use bags. He's like, no, it's not.
He didn't either. I had to implement it. I'm like, why are we going? We have a little ready mix plant down the road from us. So we go with the truck and trailer, shovel on what you need for sand, gravel, then you have your Portland. And I'm like, oh, this sucks. And then we implemented concrete bags. Yeah. How nice is this? They come, deliver, put on the trailer, no mess. You know, it's like, this is easy.
Not no mess, but less mess.
Less mess, way less. Now we're like, now the guys are like, this concrete bags are so messy. I'm like, you don't know what messy was. Like,
hey, and Sean King is deleting concrete. Like, God bless him. I think, the revolution of driving is wild. But what makes Dan Wheeler unique?
I don't know. I think I'm partially not all there, Kevin. I think about this too also the last week. Like, but I think about like what I do, and I'm like, oh my goodness, like why do I do what I do? But I love it. I don't know if it's an addiction. You know, the entrepreneur in everyone, where it's like you're chasing a carrot, and it can always be better, always be better. I can always be better. And I sat down at my laptop last night late, and I mean late. And I got up very early and I was very tired, but man, I just started jotting notes down, and I'm like, because a lot of things, business related stuff. And I'm like, I just started jotting, what do we need to do better? What works well? What can we do better? What do our competition do better than us? What do we do better than them in every aspect, from sales, customer experience, materials used, sales, the whole 9 yards, back end, front end. Like, I want to be the best at everything. That's what drives me. And whether that's right, wrong, or whatever, some people are like, you don't have to be the best at everything. That's what drives me. So that probably makes me crazy, but that's me.
That's awesome. I was thinking you were going to get into your curiosity and your ever learning, but I think they're related. But no.
But that drives my curiosity is like, why am I not getting? And again, like, why did I lose this job? Like, that curiosity drove to like, well, were they better at sales than us? Was their customer experience better than us? Did they go into our showroom that's going to get revamped this winter? Cause it looks like, you know what? Like, what if that was the case? So now let's work on that. So like that curiosity is constantly like, I'm like a hamster in a wheel. Like it's constantly moving. It just doesn't stop. And that's probably at fault by now, Kevin.
Amen. That's what, no, yeah. Oftentimes our greatest strength is also our greatest vulnerability, but I think you're an incredible human, so don't sell yourself short. Are you a reader?
I like to listen to books that capture my attention. It has to capture my attention.
Top 3 or your favorite all time?
Tribe of Millionaires is one of them. Good to Great. I'm listening to that for like the 3rd time because it's catching my interest. Then another one that I probably finished. I don't know. That's probably where I'm at. It's hard for me to listen to books just because I have to re-listen to them so many times for it to really sink in. I'd rather listen to a podcast of a guy that's been there, done that. Because it captures my attention more. Then I feel like I can work and listen and really literally get 2 things done at one time and grow as a person in business.
I'm adding a question here just because I was curious about it for you, and I think I'll be curious about it for everybody else. Like most influential like mentor or advisor, like, and it can be particular somebody like who's had the greatest impact, would you say, on you professionally?
Oh man, that's a hard one, Kevin. Obviously, my dad, because what I've learned from my dad, Kevin, is what I'm preaching to the podcast. Yeah, I've evolved a little bit, changed a little bit, modified a little bit. But the nuts and bolts, the bones of it comes from him. And he'll be 69 this February, and he did not graduate high school, and he's ran a business for 41 years, a very successful one. So, you know what I'm saying? Like that's a different breed of human being. But then there's other guys that, Matt Sheridan with Elite Technique out of Boston. He has JC Fent also. There's just a lot of guys that I could start rattling off. Another great friend of mine, Nathan Downs, Clint Imes. There's just so many, there's like every person has like their reason, I should say, every person has their reason.
All right. I'm going to give you, some call it a lightning round. It's not a lightning round at all, but I'm going to list 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5 questions. You can pick one or you can answer all of them or whatever you want to do. So I'll say them twice. So your favorite famous person, your least favorite famous person. You can tell me, I would love to know the story of the toughest season of your life. And what do you want your construction legacy to be?
Oh my goodness. Toughest season of the life is probably when the business was just hard to come to work every day, and it's one thing if your job is sitting behind a desk, and it's another thing is like if you're going out in the field and building fence and nothing's set up or right, and it feels like everything's wrong and there's no help. That's tough, man. That's gonna build flipping character. I'll tell you that, Kevin. Favorite person in the world or favorite. What'd you ask me there?
Favorite famous and least favorite famous.
Favorite famous person? Oh my goodness. Man, that's a tough one because what I think famous is different than someone else. I like listening to Trump. I like listening to hear him talk. I like Joe Rogan. I like here's a curveball. I if I'm not in the business world listening to business stuff, which is 99% of the time, the 1% of the time where I kind of like decompress, I'm listening to comedy stuff. And I love Bobby Lee. Do you know who Bobby Lee is? Little Asian dude. He's, what's wild, Kevin? I'm going to tell you something funny. He's a 55-year-old Asian comedian, short, okay, like probably 5'3" at most. And I have a cousin, and she looks just like him.
That's awesome.
But the least favorite famous person, I don't know. There's a lot of those. I really don't tune into much. I track the news. Here's another favorite person. I'll just name some favorite ones. Patrick Bet-David. I've really kind of gotten into. I like listening to him. I like what he has to say. I think he's a special individual. And I tune into everything that he is on and says every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I listen to his show out in the field 100%.
Nice. Have you I love comedy, and I find it like I feel like I could give a national address before I could go up and stand and do comedy because it would be so scary to just bomb. But do you watch Kill Tony at all? I don't. But
I used to religiously. We would listen to it because it comes out every Monday night, I think, right? And so every Tuesday when we were driving to the job or driving back from the job, we would listen to the rerun from the night before. So I'm very, very, very familiar with it.
Did you see the Biden-Trump one with Shane Gillis? And dude, that's the only. That's like the only. I like get in fits. This guy's. Cool, dude. That's really it, man. Is there anything you would have liked us to talk about that we didn't? I just wanted to, I don't know, man. I just felt it was appropriate to go bring you on the show and let you tell your story.
No, we could go down rabbit holes on everything we talked about. So that's how podcasts go. That's why you do so many of them. Yeah. Like I said, I've listened to yours. I love them. I really do. I think you have something special there. I think you're listening. So that's the thing is like, there's always going to be those guys that want to be where you're at. So like the more content you put out there, the more they're going to absorb, I should say. So that alone is motivation. I would say like things kick off, and when they kick off, it feels nice getting the emails, the text messages, the DMs of guys like, I love that. Keep doing what you're doing. Like, it motivated me for this, or I changed this, change your life. Cause you've been there, done that. When you can spread just that little bit of knowledge, that's super easy for you. That's not for the guy below you, and they can figure it out like that because you've been there, done that. Like that's huge. That's that's monumental sometimes too. So, other than that, no, I appreciate it, man.
No, I appreciate the encouragement, and I think there'll be some yin and yang for us because I want to reach down and be a vessel I want to help you. I think you already are a vessel of knowledge, and I haven't figured out exactly what that format looks like, but. Yeah, I really do. I would love to run a survey through your fan base or whatever. Just I want to I know AFA is doing their whole study through FMI or whatever of the industry, but I don't think it's going to touch the guys that are under $1 million. That it's like I want to know. I don't know how many of them they're out there and would be interested if it was more accessible. Maybe doing a virtual call, low impact, real cheap. Yep. And I think there's some of that already going on. So I don't want you to throw more chaff at the wind, but. Dan Wheeler, thanks for coming. I'm going to index it here so it gets uploaded. Appreciate you, River City Fence, and the Fence Industry Podcast, man. I think you're doing the Lord's work. Builders, that was a good one. As always, if you liked it, tell somebody about it. Like, comment, subscribe, that jazz. If you didn't, fill out the survey and let me know why we shouldn't talk fence. And appreciate the Pineapple Group keeping us rolling. You, the listener, thank you. And we'll see you next time. Go build better. Thanks, guys and gals.